It seems that with every release of Visual Studio comes a new help system. I've used them all, and I think that the system included in Visual Studio 2012 is a winner. All the pages are HTML-based. That means you can always read the latest version on the Microsoft websites. If you know you'll be working in a situation where you won't have internet access, then you can also install the help pages locally. During a typical install of Visual Studio, you are offered the opportunity to install help. Whether you chose this option or not, you can still configure and update help from within Visual Studio. Let me show you how to configure these settings. I'm inside Visual Studio, and I have this solution called Exploring the Help Engine open. I will double-click on this program.cs file, which has a couple of lines of code that I want to find help for. I want to know about this console WriteLine method, and I want to know about this file stream class. Before activating help, let's look at the settings. I'll go to the Help menu and choose this Set Help Preference. You can see that I'm currently set to launch the help in the browser. All right, let's see how that works. I'll select the file stream, and then I'll press the F1 key. Visual Studio launches the default browser and loads the help page in the browser. Here I can read more about the file stream class. Here's the class itself. And I can see that I'm working with the .NET 4.5 version of the FileStream class. If you want to look at older versions of the FileStream or newer versions, you can click here to see other .NET frameworks. And by clicking on this, it switches me to the help page for that .NET version. Once I have the FileStream class selected, then I can read about the object here, what its base class objects are, what namespace it's included in, what DLL it's included in, and I can see C#, C++, F#, and VB-specific help pages showing the syntax on how to use this. For example, here's the VB version. Next, on the bottom of the screen, you can see all of the different members of this type. Here are my constructors. Here are the properties of the FileStream class. Here are the methods. And when I find a method that I like, I can then click on it to read more about this FileStream.BeginRead method. Let me close the browser and return back to Visual Studio. Next, I want to show you how to work with local help. I'll go up here and set my help preference to launch in the help viewer. And it tells me that when I installed Visual Studio, I didn't download any content from their servers. So I'm going to select yes for this dialog. In this window, I get to see all of the recommended documentation. Here it says I should have Visual Studio 2012 Fundamentals and the .NET Framework 4.5 and a few other items here. And you can add and remove documentation at any time. Let's say that I want to do some Windows Store app development, so I can click here to add it to my list. Then I would come down here and click on the Update button. On your machine, you should see some update progress, the estimated download size, and the time it'll take to download this file. On my machine, because I'm not an administrator, I can't do this. So I'm getting an error message that says, the following errors occurred while performing the requested task. So what that means is I can't use the local help. But as you can see, there's a huge list of local help topics here for you to choose from. Let me close this dialog and return to Visual Studio. Now let me switch back to my launch in browser. Now, if I want to look up a method call, I just click on the method name in my code, and then I press F1. And the help system is smart enough, usually, to drill down into that method on this type. In this case, the console.WriteLine method has what's called an overload. There are more than one version of the WriteLine method. One that takes a Boolean, one that takes a decimal, and many more. So what I can do now is click on this to read information about this overload of the method, the one that takes the double value passed in as a parameter. The help gets better with every release. I'm very happy with the help engine included in Visual Studio 2012. Sometimes the help files themselves are lacking in details, but that is a different issue.